Welcome to the first webinar in our series of webinars to offer content and exploration of universal design for learning. This series was created by UDL consultants from State Support Team Region 12. I'm Susan Seamer and will be narrating this session. Each webinar is accompanied with an optional activity to extend your learning and reflect. If you choose to complete the activity and reflection, you can submit a Google form for 1 contact hour for each webinar. SST12 is excited to offer this series. You can complete it alone, with a partner, in a TBT, or with another collaborative team. Let's get started. The objective for this first webinar is that participants will develop a basic understanding of the what and why of universal design for learning. Please keep in mind, this webinar is the most basic of basic overviews of UDL. Before we get started, let's pause and think about your current level of understanding. Reflect on your knowledge of what UDL is and why it is a useful instructional practice. Press the pause button and reflect. You can think silently, write a note to yourself, talk with a partner, or talk with your team. Please resume the webinar when you are ready to continue. What is universal design for learning? Let's break down that definition. Universal. This means everyone. Many things that we encounter in our everyday life have been universally designed, like the ramp in the picture. Another example is adjustable car seats. These were designed for drivers of all shapes and sizes. Design. When we think about design, we think about development of something for a specific purpose. To universally design is to develop something for a specific purpose for everyone to use. Learning. We all know what this means, but sometimes when we design a lesson, we aren't designing it for learning. We design it for teaching. Often we are very rooted in our comfort zones and design our lessons based on what we like or how we learn best as teachers. Universal design for learning challenges teachers to proactively design lessons that provide opportunities for all learners to be successful using methods and strategies best suited for each learner's unique needs. Let's put the definition back together. UDL is a research-based set of principles to guide the design of learning environments that are accessible and effective for all. This definition was created by CAST, the Center for Applied Science and Technology, and this is the organization that has created the UDL principles. The Universal Design for Learning Guidelines were created by CAST to be used as a tool for lesson design. The 3 principles address the why, what, and how of learning. We are going to look deeper into these guidelines in webinars 2 through 5. Now that we have a basic understanding of what UDL is, let's look at why using the UDL framework for lesson design is important. The goal of UDL is to create expert learners. This is different from a good student, which we also want. Typically, we define being a good student as being on time to class, always doing their homework, pays attention, helps others, obeys rules, and so on. But in addition, what we should really be striving for in our classrooms is to help foster an environment where our students become expert learners. Learners who are purposeful and motivated, resourceful and knowledgeable, strategic and goal-directed. And this is the answer to, why should I use UDL? Now that we have reviewed the what and why of UDL in basic terms, please take a moment to reflect on your level of understanding. Again, you can think to yourself, talk about it with a partner or team, or write a note about it. Please resume the webinar when you're ready for the next slide. One of the first steps to fostering the creation of an expert learner is to get to know the learners in your classroom and how to support them. This is also a huge part of lesson planning when using the UDL framework. An extension activity connected to this webinar gives you an opportunity to explore some fictitious learners and classroom scenarios. This will help you gain an understanding of learner variability. To explore this activity, just follow the activity links on the UDL webinar series resource document. Also found on the UDL webinar series Google Doc are some additional resources that you may find useful. Thank you for watching this webinar. For a deeper dive into Universal Design for Learning, please check out the next webinar in our series, Busting the Myths about UDL.